core sector activity in the month of August grew at its fastest pace this fiscal. The 4.9% growth was led by strong growth in the coal mining and the electricity segments. We are joined now by Mr. A.K. Garg, EVP and Head of Construction and Mining Business at L&T, to give us a sense of what's happening in the construction and mining segments of the economy. Good morning, sir. Thanks so much for joining us. Sir, essentially wanted to understand from you what's been happening on the ground, particularly on the mining side. I think apart from the core sector numbers which I referred to, we've heard anecdotally as well the demand for some of the mining related heavy equipment has started to pick up. Have you seen anything, sir?
Yeah, good morning, and it's nice to be on your show. As you said, we see that the coal mining sector is growing, and it's growing by almost about 6% per annum now. And there's a target of reaching 720 million tons of coal production this year. And we are seeing a lot of pickup in the demand, especially from the PSUs. Both Coal India and Singareni are doing everything possible to scale up the production. They are also engaging a lot of contractors now to ensure that the overburden is removed. And we expect that almost about 1,700 million cubic meters of earth will be removed to expose coal. This will help them reach their target of 1 billion tons of coal production in the next 3 to 4 years. So on the ground, there's been a lot of activity. They're also planning a huge amount of capex. And I see that there will be a great amount of traction in the coal production, especially because India is dependent on coal for energy, and 60% of our electricity production comes from coal, which is the most cost-effective means of producing electricity.
So, what you're describing, of course, is the long-term objective, particularly on the coal front. But there have been conflicting numbers. So, for instance, I know that the September numbers showed that imports of coal had to pick up because there was a shortfall on the domestic side. I'm just trying to understand, say, over a 6-month odd period, have you seen any ups and downs in the mining side, sir?
See, we are seeing that this year, definitely, there's almost a 5% growth over the previous year in the coal. In the cement sector, of course, we see that it continues to be flat, though certain companies are trying to improve the capacities, are putting in new capacities. But still, the capacity utilization is only about 70-75% in cement. In coal, we are definitely seeing a lot of movement taking place, and especially the coal subsidiaries are going in for a large number of equipment purchases. And as I mentioned earlier, overburden removal is a continuing activity where a huge amount of contractors are being deployed to expose the coal seams.
Are you saying this, sir, only across coal or through the other mining sectors as well? And has it translated into more orders for you? Can you quantify that for us?
Yes, I would say that in the cement sector, we are seeing a lot of traction, especially the large companies like Shree Cement, Ultratech, and the Lafarge Holcim. They are going in for capacity expansion. As you know, there's a lot of consolidation taking place in the cement industry, and the large players are moving towards increasing their capacities because they expect that the cycle will change and that there'll be a big demand, especially for cement, coming from low-cost housing and from concrete roads that the government intends to build. So there's a lot of traction in the cement sector. Iron ore sector continues to be a little dull, but still they will also reach about 170 or 200 million tons of production this year.
What has all of this meant in terms of increased orders for you all at L&T, sir?
For us, we will be getting equipment orders worth about 500 crores this year. And this is a growth of almost about 10 to 12% over the previous year.
So a bit more on the construction side. So is the activity still largely coming in from housing? Is there any traction building up on the infrastructure side at all?
In construction, actually the force that is driving construction equipment is roads, because as you are aware, they are now reaching almost 28 kilometers of road building per year, and they have a very, very large target of building or awarding orders for 20,000 kilometers of roads. So the primary sector that is driving the construction equipment is the road sector. It is followed by low-cost housing, quarrying, and railways are also now picking up, and the government has an intended order book for about 7,000 kilometers is what they want to produce cement to build railway lines this year. So all these sectors are giving us a lot of activity. And after Mr. Gadkari has taken over as the Minister for Rivers and Waterways, he's also now talking about river linking. That will also be a big driver for the construction equipment. In construction equipment, the last year was very good. We almost had a growth of 30% plus over the previous year. And even in the first half of this year, the growth has been about 12 to 14% more over the previous year.
So, in a previous answer, you were talking about capex. So the understanding was, and this is something that had been said in a report yesterday by one of the rating agencies as well, that the capex will largely be in the form of maintenance and upgrades. But you're saying that there is some segments such as cement where fresh capacity is also coming in. I make that distinction, sir, because the sort of, the orders coming in from fresh capex and maintenance capex would probably be very different, right?
Yeah, so in Coal India, it would be mostly the replacement. So it would not be really maintenance, but what would happen is that equipment that was purchased earlier would need replacement. So there it would be replacement. But in the cement sector, many companies are setting in fresh capacities. For instance, Sri Cement is setting up greenfield projects in Karnataka and elsewhere. So it is also fresh capex that is coming in the cement sector.
So just one last question. I'm sorry, I don't know what percentage of your segment's order book comes internationally, but can you give us a sense of whether there is any change there, particularly the Middle East markets, which in the past had been weak?
See, in our case, for the construction and mining machinery business, we are focused on India and we are not really looking at the Middle East. So for us, it's all about serving our customers in the country.
All right, Mr. Garg, thank you so much. Great to have got your thoughts on what's happening on the ground. That's AK Garg of L&T.